Being selected as the Teacher of the Year for Joplin is a very high honor. So first, I'd like to begin by recognizing all of the Joplin Teachers of the Year that have previously been and are continuing to serve our kids in Joplin. If you wouldn't mind to please stand. If you've been Joplin Teacher of the Year. And next, I'm proud to introduce our 2012 Teacher of the Year. She's a fourth-generation Joplin teacher. So pretty incredible to think about 4 generations of teachers in general. There's probably some other people that are like that, but 4 generations of Joplin teachers is pretty incredible. So she's the great-granddaughter, granddaughter, and daughter of Joplin teachers who have had a positive influence on her. So it's no surprise that we'd be talking about her today. She's also married to a teacher, Staci Saunders, and they have 3 Joplin students, Mary Catherine, Jake, and Addison. She's a talented educator that has spent multiple years of her career at the high school level and then decided, I want to go to the elementary, and with equal success. This may be the result of her focus. She demonstrates daily to her students her belief in them and her love for them. Please welcome Joplin Teacher of the Year, Mrs. Staci Saunders.
Thank you, Dr. Bessendorfer, for the kind words. And I just want to say I love working in Joplin. Stapleton, I love working with you. And so, and Joplin High School, I do miss you too. So, thank you so much for allowing me to speak today. I am honored and humbled at this opportunity. I thought a lot about what I wanted to talk to you about today. I could stand up here and give you my teaching philosophy about how I truly believe all kids can learn and should learn, but I'm not going to do that. I could stand up here and tell you how important professional learning communities are and how having a team to work with you can truly benefit kids and the importance of it, but I'm not going to do that either. What I want to share with you today comes straight from my heart. I think a lot of times we forget how important it is to motivate, strengthen, and encourage the human spirit inside of us. So today, I'm going to remind you of things you already know. But my hope for today is to motivate and encourage you to find your passion to teach, and to teach all kids. Because we are in the business of changing futures. Do you realize you can change the direction of a student in your classroom, on your bus, a student eating in your cafeteria? You can change their life. I was reminded of this past spring when I was at a soccer game talking to one of my dear friends, and we were discussing her son. She said, Staci, I believe Mrs. Robertson changed the course of my son's future in school. All the way home that night, I could not get that off my brain. It sunk clear down to my heart. We as teachers have this amazing gift and opportunity to change the lives of students in our classes. Whether we have 120 students, 30, 20, or 10. What would happen if this year we would stop saying but and start saying what if? Instead of saying but, I have 120 students, how can I get to know that many students and start saying what if? What if I get to know at least 2 students in each one of my classes today? Instead of saying but, they are never at school, and start saying what if? What if I give them everything I have the times that they are in school? Instead of saying but, if I let them take that test again, I am lowering standards. To say, what if? What if I teach them in a different way, they might just get it? 2 years ago, my daughter Addison was in 2nd grade, Addison is a smart girl, but at the time, she was not understanding basic concepts of math. In her class, they did rocket math, and she would come home every night and get her flashcards out and practice. Or she would have me make problems for her and then time her. One night, I went downstairs and she was practicing her math facts with tears running down her eyes. I said, "Honey, what is wrong?" And she said, "Mama, I just can't do it. I can't. We have our big math assessment for the quarter tomorrow, and I can do it at home, but I just can't do it at school." We both just sat there and cried for a second. Then I looked at her and I said, "Addison Saunders, you are a fighter, not a quitter. You know these facts, you have practiced them, you can do this. Tomorrow when you take this test, and if you don't pass, you go up to your teacher and say, 'I want to take this test again.' And if you don't pass again, you go up to her and say, 'I want to take this test again.' You are a fighter, and I know you can do this." That next afternoon, Miss Headley showed up at my door with big old tears in her eyes and said, "You aren't going to believe what just happened. Your daughter. She took her quarter math assessment for addition and subtraction, and she did not do that well. We were getting ready to go to our math lesson, and she came up to me and said, 'Miss Headley, I want to take that test again.' And it caught me off guard. I said, 'Addison, we need to move on to something else.' And Addison looked up at me with gritted teeth and big tears running down her eyes and said, 'Miss Headley, I know I can do this. I want to take that test again.' In that very moment, Miss Headley changed the course of my daughter's life. She let her be a fighter. She stopped class and gave it to her again, and she passed. Miss Headley and I just stood in my room for a while and just cried. Did she lower expectations? No. Did she give her a grade? No. She, in that moment, could have made my daughter a quitter, but instead, she made her a lifelong fighter. In my room, I have a sign that says, 'In this room, we don't do easy. We make easy happen through hard work.' Working with kids ages 3 to 18 is not easy. The gifted kid that needs to be challenged, not easy. The at-risk kid that has no support at home, not easy. The high-achieving kid that needs additional work, not easy. The child with autism, not easy. The mouthy kid who is needing attention, not easy. The shy, quiet kid that is easy to overlook, but not easy to make connections with, not easy. But people, we are not in the business of easy. We are in the business of changing lives, of changing the course of the future of these kids, and it's going to take hard work. I'm going to finish today with a story that I think sums up everything that I'm hoping to inspire in you today. 9 or 10 years ago, I was coaching a basketball game, and I had a ref come up to me and ask me, "How is your dad?" My dad had just retired after 30 years of teaching and coaching at Joplin High, which, by the way, he starts year 40 today in Kansas. I said he was doing well. He then went on to say, "A couple of us were talking about him the other day, and what do you think his best year of coaching was?" I thought for a second and said, "Well, probably the year Jeff Hafer was a sophomore, and he took the Joplin boys basketball team to the state tournament, and they were 1 game away from the Final Four." And the ref said, "We were thinking that team too. We had some really good baseball teams also." I didn't think much about it, but the next time I saw my dad, I decided to ask him about it. His answer shocked me and changed the way I coached and viewed teaching. When I asked him what he considered his best year of coaching, he sat and thought for a bit and said, "The year one of my basketball teams only won 3 games. We went 3-23 on the year." I about fell over and said, "What?" He said, "Yes, that was my very best year of coaching." "Why do you say that, Dad?" He replied, "Stace, because that year I had to coach. When the world and the rest of the school were telling them how terrible they were, I had to teach them to be winners. We worked hard, and we had to start at the beginning. I had a choice to make. I could yell and berate, or I could build up and motivate. 2 years later, that group of sophomores won a district championship as seniors, and my picture is still up in that gym. That was by far my best year of coaching." Ladies and gentlemen, whether you are a teacher, administrator, bus driver, para, nurse, coach, building engineer, building aide, secretary, or cook, carve your picture on the heart of a child this year. make a difference, change their course, be passionate about what brought you here in the first place, and help our kids take flight. Thank you.